All right. We are finally live, and Allison is not at her computer.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry for the wiggliness. I've had to use a completely different camera, which is my Wiggly Cam.
Yeah, it's the one attached to the laptop, which I guess is on like a bar stool or something. It's on a table that's on a giant spring.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a little bit nauseating, seasickness inducing, but I'll try not to wiggle too much so that it doesn't jiggle too much. The camera, I mean.
Okay.
So anyway.
Hello everybody. Welcome to the show. Red Hill Cinema. It's not porn. It's a critique of late stage capitalism or late stage streaming. We started really late.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah. I think that what happened is the camera software that I use on my phone, they just stopped. They just discontinued it without any notice, and so we can't get the phone to work. I probably eventually I'll figure out how to do it, but right now we're sort of stuck with this and the wiggliness of it. But since we can't do anything about it, we're talking once again about Morning Glory Milking Farm. Shoe on Head did a video about it, and we'll discuss that. But we'll also discuss the late stage capitalist critique of this
apparently
piece.
This Gooner book is actually a lot more intellectual than you think. It's actually a really smart story about late stage capitalism and revolution.
As if complaining about something is smart. Okay, but
what?
I said as if complaining about something just makes something smart. You know, it just makes you smart if you can complain.
Well, if you call it a critique instead of just complaining.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, all right. So this wasn't just degeneracy, guys. This was women pointing out the degeneracy of the society that men made.
Yep.
Yeah. So when you point your finger at this degeneracy, know that it is pointing back at you. And you should feel ashamed. So the fact that women are schlicking to this, you should feel ashamed, my dudes. You should feel the shame. And this isn't Darvo. This isn't like classic deny and reverse victim and offender. No. This is genuine. Women gooning women most affected. Men, you should feel ashamed. All right. So if any point throughout the show you have a burning urge to send us a message, you could do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Very best way to tip us and to send a message if you so desire with that tip. I haven't got the monthly fundraiser up, which I really should get on, but I was dealing with this camera nonsense, so it's still in hiatus, but we will get that shortly. And when it is available, it will be at feedthebadger.com/support. And also, we're sort of, I want to look at the wiggliness of this. Okay, I got to get my hands behind my back so I don't touch the table which the camera is on. If you would like to support the show on a more ongoing basis, then consider subscribing at feedthebadger.com/subscribe. I'm going to do a shout out to that. I might attempt a shill on the subscribe at the end of the show because we have we're losing a bit of subscription income, so I would like to increase that and potentially fill in the losses. And I think it's really critical to invest in this concept because nobody else will except you stubborn fucks who watch us. So feedthebadger.com/subscribe to make sure we can continue to talk about this, about the connection between not caring about men and our society slowly crumbling into an abyss. All right, so those are the things to consider, and let's get on this topic. Let's milk this topic.
Oh, let's not. So we're going to start with Shoe on Head's video then?
Yeah, sure. Let's cover that.
I watched them both, but I didn't have any time codes. So I'm going to jump ahead. So we're introducing the topic. Shoe on Head is discovering that there are women who are perverts, and they have been allowed to be perverts unabated, uncriticized, in fact, probably propped up for a long time, and now she's noticing that
Yep.
it's got there are some problems with it, with the community.
Bigger problems than this even. But I think she covers that as well. We actually talked about all of this in a previous episode, so I guess we're just revisiting it.
Yeah. So I don't know, like, where do you have like a specific bit? I'll jump past her whole ground news thing, which is not my thing at all. So
okay, yeah, jump past that and keep going.
Yeah, we'll just go like right here, I think.
Very interesting place, and any book fans out there know how it has absolutely destroyed the hobby of literature and just flooded it with absolute slop.
It's not a hobby though. To be fair, I'm this is like, I'm being a nitpicky person, but literature, cultural things are not just hobbies. Like books and film and television. They're important. They're not just things you do for fun, you know? So, but anyway,
spicy slop. You see, books on TikTok are not rated by how well they are written or how good the characters are. No, they are rated by the spice. And what does spice mean? Porn. It means porn. Spice level is very important to book talkers. How much spice does a book have? What are the spiciest books they have ever read? How spicy is the book they're currently reading? Spice, spice, spice. And the spiciest book going viral on Book Talk lately is none other than Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Nascosta.
Yep.
Can't wait for the movie to come out.
Oh, good. Oh.
Hey, 50 Shades of Grey. They made a whole trilogy.
Yeah, but 50 Shades of Grey featured at least a human. Like, what are they going to do with this?
But I mean, at one point in time, 50 Shades of Grey was considered like peak spicy. Extreme. And the fact that they made a movie out of it, three movies out of it, and it was the best-selling book, right? Like, women were eating it up, and it was literally Twilight fanfic. So first you had a low bar of entry. You're doing fan fiction of Twilight, which is trash, and it's just full of smut. And there were at least 3 books, and they were global bestsellers among women. And then those 3 books, which are fanfic, well, they're film fanfic interpretations of smut, like smut interpretations of, bad young adult books or romance novels. They get made into, massive films, which are, I never saw them. I assume they're borderline pornographic, probably. So, so now, yeah, why not? I could see it. Why not? Because we've normalized 50 Shades of Grey. So that's become normal. That's really tame now.
It's vanilla.
The thing. Like, what?
It's vanilla.
Yeah, it's vanilla now. Like, it wasn't when it came out. It was like really, like, it was spicy. It was like edgy. It's vanilla now. Like 50 Shades of Grey is vanilla. So like, what is going, when this becomes vanilla, then, like, as it will, have you noticed that there's like an evolution of this stuff? What's going to be considered edgy at that point?
Being,
like, just putting it out there.
Sexually violated by a singularity in space.
I don't think we can imagine it yet. Honestly,
it'll have to transcend.
I don't think it's been conceived of.
Yeah, it'll have to be some kind of
banging Cthulhu.
Yeah, banging Cthulhu.
The beast with a billion backs.
Okay.
Anyway. So, yeah.
Violet is a typical down-on-her-luck millennial, mid-20s, overeducated, and drowning in debt. Oh my god! She's just like me! On the verge of moving into her parents' basement, when a lifeline appears in the form of a very unconventional job in the neighboring Cambric Creek. She has no choice but to grab it with both hands. Morning Glory Farm offers full-time hours, full benefits, and generous pay with no experience needed. There's only one catch. The clientele is grade A certified prime beef. Oh, God.
Okay. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but
no, not yet. I will.
Okay.
I have things,
all right.
but not yet.
With the manly, meaty endowments to... Okay.
Morning Glory Milking Farm is actually a profound critique of late-stage capitalism.
Now I have something to say. First of all, have you
That's
noticed?
A different video.
Have you noticed that this is that's a different video. We'll go through it as well. Have you noticed that these talking points, they come up, they emerge whenever women want to make excuses for their venal and atavistic behavior.
Excuses?
Excuses. Right? This is
what do you mean?
I've watched this video.
Yeah, I've watched it too.
She's genuine. I mean,
this woman?
She is genuinely asserting this. Yes.
I know.
I thought
it was a poll. I had to watch it and really try to. No, she's serious. She believes this is. Yeah. This is a critique of late stage capitalism. This book.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't judge it now, guys, because it is a critique of late stage capitalism.
Mm-hmm. Right? It's okay for me to flick the bean to this because actually I'm doing it as a member of the proletariat.
Yeah, I'm doing it as an exercise of defiance against the bourgeoisie.
The patriarchy. The patriarchy.
The patriarchy, the bourgeois archy.
The bourgeois patriarchy. Yeah.
The bourgeois patriarchy. So not only is this gooning, it's gooning with a point, and that point should make you men feel ashamed of yourselves. Because you have constructed a system, which you are to blame for, of meritocracy, although sometimes a lot of nepotism happens. And we are in the end stages of it. So in other words, we've constructed a meritocracy, and the meritocracy has deteriorated into governments voting themselves more money and nepotism, and also funding for ridiculously irrational crap that has nothing to do with making money from an audience and everything to do with just justifying getting more money, which is, have you ever watched Yes, Prime Minister or Yes, Minister? Yeah, people should watch that because it is a primer on how governments justify themselves and justify their own spending. There's one episode where the minister who was trying to rein in government spending and failing constantly. This is what he was trying to make government more transparent and trying to be responsible with the funds that government spends. So he's trying to this is his mandate. That's what he's trying to do. He's at every turn completely roadblocked by the chief of staff. So basically what we would call the deep state, the gigantic hive of bureaucrats upon which are elected officials merely a skin that is stretched to hide how little actual control we have over this. Every step of the way, his attempts to reduce government spending are stymied by this bureaucrat. And at one point, he uncovers the fact that there is a hospital that has operated for 18 months without seeing a single patient. So they've had full operation costs going to the hospital, not seeing any patients. And he's like, this is egregious waste of money. But of course, the bureaucrat manages to pull levers and shuck and jive and do all kinds of shit. And in the end, he has to sign off on continuing this government waste because somehow it's justified because it employs government employees. No doctors, just a bunch of government bureaucrats running around the hive doing studies on how important it is to treat patients without actually treating them. And so it's like it is a case study in how the government justifies itself. And getting back into late stage capitalism, our late stage capitalism is the government having eaten a good portion of the economy to justify itself, and then also having inserted itself and made winners and losers of corporations instead of subjecting them to market forces. And yeah, and sure, some personal nepotism among very rich people. Sure, fair enough. But this is late stage capitalism. It is when the meritocracy is dying, right? Got ladies? It's when the meritocracy is laboring under a fatberg constructed by government interference. And I would also argue the fact that the government controls the currency. So it does things like it inflates it so that because the government runs on debt, it's always inflating stuff because that means its debt burden is less. But we have to eat that cost. I wonder if women are starting to notice this. Like they're starting to feel the pinch to the point where they're like, oh, wait, maybe I shouldn't constantly vote for more government spending because that's inflationary. And the other thing the government does, this is one thing that's really pissing me off right now, is because there are people that I know who are affected by it, is the government will inflate everything and then it will take capital gains. So if you put your money in an asset and that asset actually performs well, instead of losing money, well, you don't get to claim any loss of money. The government, when you sell that asset, the government will take capital gains without considering all the inflation that the government is responsible for. Government is theft. The more I get into tax law, the more illegitimate the government becomes. And then women like this call it late stage capitalism. It is not late stage capitalism. It is late stage government graft. And you can include corporations in that because they have become recipients of it. Okay. I apologize for my anarcho-capitalist rant. We started with that. But this is ridiculous. And now we're using it to justify gooning. Women's gooning. Like it has to be a political act. You can't just wait
Allison, your microphone.
to freaking cow horns. No, you have to make it a political act. Can you imagine if did this?
If I had to assume, I would say that the woman in this video is a communist, which means she's a hammer looking for a nail that she can blame on capitalism. So, governments and corporations, which are clearly not capitalist in any way. Yes, I include corporations in that because they are subsidized and protected by the government, which makes them fascist institutions by their very nature. And I don't mean in the woke way where everything is fascist. I mean in the literal sense. They just call it capitalism, which is ridiculous. It's not capitalism. But anyway, I got a super chat. Huh?
Capitalism itself is a word that they just freaking made up.
Yeah, they made up the word capitalism to criticize property rights. So it's just property, guys. You own something, guess what? You're a capitalist. So I got a super chat from R-Man for $20, and he says, "Hello, Brian and Allison. Good to catch a live from you guys again. I've been trying to catch up on some of your other videos you've posted recently. I had surgery recently, so I've been away for a bit. Well, I hope you're recovering okay, R-Man, and thank you for the super chat, and thank you so much for joining us on the show." All right. So anyway, let's jump ahead a little bit to past that
video. So I actually read the book myself, and I'm not gonna lie, the 19th Amendment needs to be abolished. So like I said, the story is basically
welcome to the dark side, show.
I know you're joking, but a part of you wants it to be true. Search your feelings.
It'd be true. Okay.
All right, jump ahead to here, I think.
The seam of his sack. So I'm reading this, and the whole time I'm thinking, like, okay, he probably has, like, a human head, right? He probably, like, looks something like this, like, just a dude with, like, horns. Then I see the official artwork. That's a cow. Bro is a cow. Bro is a straight-up cow.
Those are Minotaurs. There was a Minotaur. Do you know that the Minotaur, there was just one in Greek mythology, and I think it was carnivorous, like it ate people in the labyrinth,
which is a little weird.
Somehow women have sexualized it a lot, but anyway,
I'm like moving things around, sorry guys,
and it will be like,
oh hell,
hooves clip-clopped. My hooves will tear up your sheets. And it's like, I'm sorry, his what? At one point, she describes kissing him, and I swear to God it was more disgusting than anything else described in this book. She's like describing how big and wide his mouth is and how big and like slimy his tongue is. She's like describing the shit and you're just like, that's a cow. I mean, we are at a solid 5.5 on the
Barbo scale.
Yeah.
Human. I don't know what the Barbo scale is. Monster fucker spectrum. So human pro, shifter, like werewolves.
Yeah, humanoid creature like orcs.
Like orcs and ogres, non-humanoid creatures.
Non-humanoid creature.
And what the fuck is that? Creatures are not humans.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to what the fuck is that there now. That'll be when we're doing
Allison. No, we're definitely
50
past
Shades
that too. Just not in this book.
50 Shades of existential horror.
I think there is definitely like what the fuck is that porn for women out there for sure.
Oh yeah. It just hasn't hit Barnes and Nobles or your public library or your kindergarten reading rotation. Yeah, you sigh. It is pretty. And the thing is, the problem is this just creeps everywhere because we can't say no.
This is how you know we're in two different realms when it comes to the stuff that women consume and the stuff that men consume. So you were just talking about this video where the woman takes this book, which is just goon material for women, and tries to validate its significance by saying it's a sharp critique, a biting critique of late stage capitalism. A woman, by the way, in the short version of the plot, from what I remember, a woman who is struggling to find work, has to take another job to pay off her debt, and she basically goes to a farm where a bunch of buff Minotaurs get how do I put it? They get hand jobs, I think, or more hand jobs and up.
No.
These women serve them to get the milk out of their sacks. Okay, go ahead.
Incidentally, the milking machine is very lovingly described to the point where the writers group and I were wondering if this was some kind of autist, like who has a milking machine fetish.
Yeah,
because it was just very elaborate, and I don't think that's a hand job. I think it's they just like the Minotaur is suspended on like a massage table with a spot for parts to come through. The milking machine is applied, right? Then there was this great deal of stress on they stressed this quite a bit that the milkmaids needed to make sure they capture everything by getting the nozzle at the right point in time. And so no, there's no hand jobs involved. It's all mechanical. Oh, am I having trouble?
Yeah, you're like cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh.
Let me just well, what I'm saying is
we're rebelling today.
It's just
what it is? We've had a winter storm, like our first of the year.
Yeah.
And probably everything is getting blown out. So we're probably dealing with micro.
Are you guys sure that it's because like she's cutting out a little bit for me?
Yeah. If am I cutting out for anybody else?
I can hear you mostly, but a little bit you're cutting out. But what I was going to say is, could you imagine a man? This is how you know we're not on the same plane of existence in terms of like how we view each other's, let's say, degenerate interests, or at least like interests that we wouldn't generally want to share with the world. This woman in this other video is able to make a YouTube video about porn for women and make the case that it's actually something academic at the end of the day, and also recommend it to her audience, which might, by the way, include underage viewers, right? And use it as use the fact that it criticizes late stage capitalism by, and talking about the plot in detail. Could you imagine a man watching a porn of another man that essentially like is attacked by, I don't know, like a harem of succubi that are planning to kill them, but he's so awesome in bed that they're all converted and they fall in love with him, and he ends up like taking care of the whole harem of succubi and they all have different, kinks and stuff, because that's like the way that usually goes. And then that guy, somebody watched all of that and gooned to it and then made a YouTube video saying how this is actually a like a I don't know, like an exercise in like polygyny, anarcho-capitalism, like somehow made it work, right? And he put it on YouTube, and we're all just supposed to be like, yeah, that's cool, right? Like, this is how you know that what we understand porn for men to be and what we understand porn for women to be, we treat completely different. So we say that, like everything that is wrong with men has to do with their porn addiction, whatever it is that's going on with them, whether they're not getting married, they're not whatever, but there's no equivalent of that on the female side. And and then when we look at the politics and like the way the values of men and women are changing, have shifted, especially women's, no one is making a connection. And by the way, Shu does talk about this too in this video, where she's basically asked the question, why are women into this monster porn? And there's a whole, it's Reddit, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have anything value to share. At least like looking into the psyche of a female Redditor that is into this stuff. And it kind of like, well, it is what you think it is. So just putting it out there.
Well, and this stuff is available in Barnes & Noble. It's available in Walmart. It's available in your public library. This is available. It is available to children, apparently, if they want to go into the public library and read it. I'm not sure where it's placed in the public library. Hopefully it's placed in the adult section. And it is there. It has no merit other than it is intended to get its audience off. So it is 100% porn. It's available everywhere. And it speaks to what both Brian and I are saying. Like, we don't view women's sexuality in the same way men do. We view men's, because you imagine the audacity of a man to say that this is breaking the gynocracy. It is breaking the monopoly on sexual validation of the gynocracy or some crap. You imagine that? I mean, I think everybody would laugh at him, even red pillars.
Mm-hmm.
That would just be absurd. Just
anyway,
goon. Don't
I got a super chat
make it into some. Am I breaking?
No, you're fine.
Just goon. Don't make it into some political statement. And do it on your, don't put it into the public eye. It's like we have really bad boundaries when it comes to women's sexuality. The expectation that they keep it somewhere. Oh, good grief.
See, I can't hear her, but I can see her audio thing moving around. Let's see if she comes back. I got a super chat from Zeranx for $10. Thank you, Zeranx. And he says, I think it's good to mention I've come across 3 separate articles related to 3 individual women who married their dogs. Then we have the Twitch thoughts and their dogs behaving weirdly. Dude, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, that's a thing. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a little bit of justification for their interests in these books. And it may have some, like, I think that this woman who wrote this book actually French kissed a cow so that they could like write about it. And that's what, look, I'm just saying, I could see it. Or maybe a horse, like whatever was close, Albatross gives us $5 and says the Minotaur was a single entity Greek myth where a princess falls in love with a white bull, and well, you know what happens in Greek myths. Yeah, I know. There was only one Minotaur, just like there was only one Medusa. But for some reason we've because of D&D, let's be honest, we conceived it as like a type of monster instead. But yeah, the Minotaur is just like a single, like Pegasus. I think there's just one of those as well. But anyway, thank you for that. Alice, are you back? Oh, she stepped away. All right. Hopefully that's not the I can't tell if the camera's frozen. Oh no, it's not. It's not. You're muted too.
I'm having a hell of a time. I think it is because we're just dealing with we're dealing with late or early like we're basically dealing with the beginning of winter here.
Yeah.
Which means that we got a lot of ice and snow last night, plus a lot of wind, which usually results in some blackouts. So that's probably what we're dealing with. I'm sorry, guys. Also, sorry for the wiggly cam.
Red Kayak says succubi are men. Actually, no, succubi are women.
Incubi
are men.
Incubi.
Yes.
Brian knows his succubi and incubi.
I was a dungeon master for a long time. I know what a succubi and an incubi is, okay? But anyway, so anyway, let's keep going.
Low scale here. This is dangerous territory, folks. She also f***ers his ass. She f***ers the cow's ass. By the way, if you want an uncensored version of this video and all my videos,
okay, this is she's
plugging her Patreon, right?
Yeah, well, become a patron to shoot.
If you're interested in that content,
you could also subscribe to us.
Yes.
we actually
we're already not that censored, to be honest. So
yeah, we don't really we don't go for that, which is probably why we're deboosted in the algorithm, in part also because feminists tell YouTube to deboost us. And I have seen evidence of that. And also maybe we're not still on a Department of Homeland Security list. Who knows?
Maybe, but like I think that they're like the FBI are on Discord. So there could be some feds in our Discord. But as long as we're not,
no doubt.
Yeah, as long as we're not doing anything that that they would.
No, this is not published independently.
Furry shit. I hope that's not, because they're kind of, their radars they're on, furries are on the radar right now. They're looking for them.
Okay.
So just saying.
This was not published independently. I think it might have been, but now it is professionally published. Also, there's another thing.
The Milk Farm book?
Yeah, the Milk Farm it's available, and it's basically published professional, or if you can call it professionally. It's published. It's not independent anymore, if it ever was. It is now professionally published, and it is available everywhere where fine books are sold. Because we can't tell women. This is what I was talking about before everything went to crap. We can't tell women no. We're not allowed to tell women no. We're not allowed to say, no, your sexuality doesn't belong here. No, get your tits back in your shirt. Nobody needs to see that. Right? No, you don't get to show your hooch to the police during some sort of Black Lives Matter. No, you get your body back into clothing. You're streaking and you're flashing children, and that is actually a sexual crime. We have a real big problem with saying no to women's sexuality in our society, and this is a part of it. And like the degeneracy of this, I think Shuan had touches on this later. The degeneracy of this actually goes even beyond it being in inappropriate places. Like if you're going to do this, it should be paper bag fare, right? You should be putting it in a paper bag, doing your business in shame and secret, and it should not be available in public. Right? This is like having an outlet for Pornhub anywhere, where men can just be like, oh yeah, I like that. And could you imagine that? Like just have porn movies just in the regular, just at Walmart.
Just search for it on YouTube, right?
No, yeah, just search for it on you. Put it in Walmart. Like just have it right there.
Yeah, put it in Walmart.
Kids walking past. Oh, okay. All right. Just have it there. And then men, picking it up, watching it in public when they're on Subway, and discussing it as a political statement.
And saying, no, actually, this is a commentary on the state
of gynocracy.
Yeah.
This is a commentary on the gynocracy. That
I'm actually watching. This is pro-natalist commentary. I'm learning how to start families, and you start families by banging. So
this is a commentary on, or I'm reclaiming my sexual freedom from the gynocracy. Like that kind of crap. No, that would never happen, because we know how to say no to men. Let's be honest. We don't know how to say no to women. We don't know how to say, no, this is not appropriate. Put it in the paper bag. Go home. Do it by yourself. In shame. and feel the shame.
The thing is too is that women are not, they're different from men in how they talk about this stuff because, well, I'm going to play more. I think it's coming up right here. So
settings.
It's dinner, not a down payment for your time. But I'm in a position to comfortably spoil someone.
Oh,
with me,
yeah.
I'm spoiling you. End of story. I said, okay, I highlighted that paragraph for myself.
Clean file 5.
So these women are making videos talking about, look, maybe there is a male equivalent that exists, but I have never personally, and I have male friends back home in Chicago, my male friends and my female friends. I have never sat around like, having drinks or coffee and talking about the porn I watch. I've never done it. I don't get it. Like, it's like, but women will do that. They will, I don't know, they'll get together and knit or whatever it is women do when they get together, play bridge, I don't know, and they will talk about the porn. Like, that's why they have book clubs. Like I knew a friend of mine whose wife was reading 50 Shades of Grey. And he was like, all for it. Like, oh yeah, like she's, he was reading it too, I guess. And she would like get together with her friends and they were in a book club and they would talk about the book. And I'm like, that book can't be that deep. But, I guess it was to them. Like, cause it's, it's the story of what is it? The kind of man that these women really like. They have everything, but they need a woman to make them feel whole. Isn't that what the 50 Shades of Grey, like Christian Grey is? He's like this broken baby bird, but he's got everything, like super rich, big dick, like everything.
From what I remember reading part of it, that she is orbited by a whole bunch of guys that are pretty much identical to him, except they don't have his money. So it's just that, like, it's not deep at all. It's like this guy is about as much of an asshole as every other guy in this story, but he's got money. So it's no deeper than that. And I don't know what to say about this feminine urge to conflate your what you schleck to intellectual pursuits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Like, there's nothing intellectual about this. This is such incredible level of it's almost like they can't handle being an animal, right? They just have to put a veneer of intellectualism over it, and there's nothing intellectual about it.
Yeah, is this not the end point of liberation? Like the philosophical end point of liberation? Well, it's not there yet. There's probably more, but it is on that path. That's why the women, what's more important is not necessarily what they enjoy, but that you don't judge it, which is why they put it in your face, because they want to see if you're going to judge them for it, because they want to live a completely judgment-free life. And that's not possible, because despite other people's like sort of blind either indifference or support for it, when those women find themselves alone with their thoughts, they're going to be feeling like, I don't know, insufficient or shame or something.
Insecure.
And so there's a constant pursuit of liberation from judgment, but they're not really escaping it because they're conscious. They're conscious is pecking at them if the people around them are not holding them to some kind of standard of, I don't know, decency. So I think this is like what we're experiencing. It's like for them, because men are not as liberated in this way as women are. I think that men are made to
they're more
feel
inured to shame.
Yes, they're more inured to shame. How they respond to it, that differs, from individual to individual, but we don't have the same sort of unbridled, liberate men at all costs, because we need men to keep things going, so that there's just enough shame or guilt put on men to keep them, like behaving a certain way, which is why everything feels so like lopsided, right? Like where we have like, it's not patriarchy, but it's not complete, like it's not egalitarianism either. It's not a complete equality, because it always comes down to how do women benefit? And that's basically the model we use, which is why men have what? None of the authority, but all of the responsibility, and women have none of the responsibility, but all the authority, because we don't have like a working model. It's like this, not that I don't think the egalitarian model would work anyway, but yeah, we don't even have that, because women are always going to want to be preferentially treated, and we don't see them in any way other than on the path to liberation. They're constantly moving towards more liberation, basically.
Yeah, and what's interesting about all of this is that if you think about it, this patriarchy narrative allows them to regard their own self-destruction or the destruction of others as liberation, as acts of defiance, as acts of rebellious defiance. See what I'm saying? Like, and it makes them feel more. It makes them feel more capable of bucking the trend, being rebellious, being able to move outside of others, like leaving the herd. It makes them feel that way, and it makes them feel intelligent when they're neither. They're actually moving with the herd, and they are being really stupid while they do it. Like that, but it allows them to cast them indulging in all of their lowest, basest instincts as rebellion, as intelligent rebellion, when it's basically just stupid indulgence.
You have to have a really high IQ to appreciate the milking farm book.
Yeah, really high IQ, guys.
Yeah.
Some serious high IQ.
Yeah, you gotta have like a 200 IQ to get into this. This isn't your standard goon material. This is for women.
Yeah, it's not. It has nothing to do with
women
the fact
of culture.
There's nothing to do with the fact that these Minotaurs are 7 foot, could tear a car apart with their bare hands, have endowments the size of Schwarzenegger's forearm, and make lots of money and are benevolent doms. It has nothing to do with that, and everything to do with the deep intellectual substance that you guys could never understand. You could never understand how this is an act of ingenious defiance against the patriarchy.
Yes. Okay.
And it's like it's this way of just feeling, I guess, better about yourself. And you're right. There's something pecking at them, and I think that's the drive to actually become a human being, which requires some kind of external standard to hold yourself to, and that pecks at them. And they spend their entire life trying to silence it through all of this nonsense.
Yeah.
You just learn the language of building a sense of self based on the consequences of your actions, ladies. Then you could know yourself in a completely new way. It might not be as fun, just like not skipping leg day is not as fun as eating a cream pie. But at the end of the day, you appreciate yourself more for having done it. Okay, let's
yeah. All right, let's
get to the next part.
I thought of it. But what did other people think of it? What are the reviews on this book? This book has a 4.1 on Amazon with 21,000 ratings and a 3.6 on Goodreads with nearly 60,000 ratings. Let's just read some random ones here. Hear me out. Hear me out. A milking good time. Sweet and creamy. The spice is spicing. I was very leery of starting this because I thought it was just going to be porn. The plot is pretty good.
The plot. She read it for the plot, guys.
Plot? Please. This is like the new I read Playboy for the articles. Like, sure you do.
No, actually, Playboy actually had good articles, and the photo shoots in Playboy are extremely tame.
Yes, at this point, yeah.
Like, they're like ridiculously shame. They're tame. Tame. Yeah, why I say shame?
Vanilla.
They're ridiculously tame compared to this. They're basically like artistic nudes. I mean, almost, right? So yeah, it's not even close to that.
This book could kill a Victorian child. 5 stars. I'll never look at a jug of milk the same. I think I'm lactose intolerant now. So that happened. Our eyes will never see the gates of heaven. 1 star. Not a helpful guide. This book failed to teach me how to milk a cow, and now my family has no food for the winter. 1 star. Accidentally ordered.
Probably got a lot of protein though.
Here's I don't know if she gets into. No, actually, I didn't think she does. Yeah, these are pretty fun. This is funny.
All right.
I know we're bringing the heavy here and the deep analysis, but this is
Should I get into some of the other books that I'm gonna jump ahead?
Yeah, jump ahead.
You're gonna be picking up Animal Farm now. Like, where's the horse? Some of you people owe a certain streamer an apology because this book has way too many 5 stars. Some of you are lying. So after buying this book, Amazon has given me a few interesting recommendations. Would you like to see them? I accidentally summoned a demon boyfriend.
You know, this is the thing too, is that because of like AI now, and I'm not saying this is written by AI, but I've noticed a lot of people are writing books and using AI to do cover art and to, well, help write, if not outright write the books. And they're all really bad because I think it's a lot of people who used to write on Tumblr and they think they're writers. So they go and they start writing fiction and it's almost all this. Isn't slash fiction this? Like, wasn't slash fiction the precursor to this stuff? But it was like taking like pop culture characters and OCs and putting them together. I never read that. I'm just saying, isn't that like kind of like the precursor, the ancestor of this stuff for women?
Yeah, maybe. It was, I don't know if it was ever meant to become like this. Like I said, if we had proper boundaries, it never would have become this. It would have just been, you know, because there's also stuff that like male fans create Rule 30, like they create all kinds of drawn stuff.
Rule 34.
Like related to characters as well, but it doesn't end up being published as some kind of serious fiction or published like this. You know what I mean? It's
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not just the existence of slash or the existence of fan fiction, erotic fan fiction. It's the fact that we just can't draw appropriate boundaries around women's sexuality. It's probably also the reason why millennial women are raping at unbelievable rates and their attitudes towards male victims have gotten worse since like a generation ago. Like I bring this up a lot, but that's another symptom of us not being able to draw appropriate boundaries around women's sexuality and the problem with our society not making it acceptable to say no to women. We give these narratives that justify women putting their sexuality everywhere, and if we shame them, that's wrong. We're wrong for doing that. So if we shame women for having Morning Glory milking farm out everywhere, just slapping it on the table, we're wrong because we can't shame women's sexuality. It's patriarchal or something, right? And that leaches into you can't say no to women in other circumstances. Like that's the problem with our. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Women are believing that no is more and more of a patriarchal construct, which means it's not just this, right? It's not just the presence of this where it doesn't belong. You know, getting its tendrils into places where it just doesn't belong and taking over entire genres and mediums. This is the other thing. Like women's gooning it's like it gets everywhere. It goes everywhere. And it ends up in really inappropriate places. Like I noticed that conservatives are now picking up on all the crap that's in children's cartoons now. What do you think is pushing that? It's women's gooning.
Well, yeah, it comes out of feminism. So
it comes out of our
and feminism was sexual, like probably since the beginning on some level, because people like Mary Shelley would go to orgies over at Lord Byron's place, and so there was likely some of that carried over from back then, even if it was like reserved for the elites that had the ability and the liberty and the freedom to travel and like go to orgy parties. But yeah, I mean, I think that's where it comes from. Anyway,
Yeah.
Richard Beer gave us a super chow for 5, and he says, so if there is to be a movie version of Morning Glory Milking Farm, the ideal would be for it to be a musical produced and directed by Mel Brooks. 3, what Allison had said about that episode of Yes Minister where the hospital didn't have any doctors or nurses hired, but had the staff office processing paperwork to hire the medical staff. There has been some statements from the UK where doctors are talking about striking because they might be asked to see patients. 3, coming soon to an adult novelty store, toy store near you. Expect to see the line of bovine peen-styled female sex toys. Almost a throwback to an episode of Sex and the City where Miranda introduces the group to the toy known as the rabbit. Well, again, like not coming soon. There already are dragon dildos. They exist. They've been around for years. So a bull or a horse or something like that, I'm sure that that's already out there. So yeah, no, not coming soon. It's been here. It's been here for a while. And yeah, I mean, they probably have all kinds of gadgets. Let's be real. So, but thank you, Richard. Okay. So anyway, USA Today best-selling author. Just aged. I accidentally summoned a demon boyfriend.
That time I got drunk and
that time I got drunk and saved a demon. Kimberly Lemming. Mead Mishaps, book 1.
You notice that all of these women are like
black,
below mid.
Yeah, not attractive, but like black women too. At least so far. Pink hair, check.
Gentling the beast.
Gentling the beast. Sweet monsters. Coveted by the orc.
Cupcakes for my orc enemy.
Oh wait, what? I gotta see that.
Demon. Gentling the beast. Cupcakes for
my orc enemy. Is that a man? Because that face looks feminine, like a feminine orc.
Well, it's the bun.
But it's a man's body.
Bun. It's the man. It's the man bun that's doing it there, Brian.
Yeah. These are like this is what D&D orcs are now. I don't know if you guys know this. They own cafes and stuff, so they don't pillage and rape anymore. They don't burn villages for their dark lord.
Did they ever rape?
Yeah, that's where half orcs came from, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you knew you were going in for it then.
Yeah,
eventually,
yeah. Well,
eventually that would be eroticized.
Generally, it wasn't considered erotic. It was a product of tragedy, a half orc. But they didn't really go into specifics. But you pretty much figured that that's what half orcs were a product of. But interestingly, when I ran a D&D game for Lindsay, my wife, now when we were together, well, before we got married, but we were playing D&D game with my friends. She made a half orc, a female one, and her mother was the rapist. So she actually flipped the script on it and said that her mother was the orc that raped a human.
Honestly, that probably would make a lot more sense if you think about it.
It could. I mean, I think it can go either way, but yeah.
But consider the size difference.
Yeah, for sure. Well, but a male orc would be bigger than a human too. But anyway, but yeah. But we just thought it would be interesting. So that's what we went with.
Okay.
Anyway.
Getting
away from orc rape for a moment.
My orc enemy. Main of my existence.
That's terrible. It's a lion man.
Look at the size
Creatures
difference.
Encoding, book 1. What?
Look at the size difference.
Yeah, of course.
That's insane.
Yep. The gargoyle and the spinster. What's a spinster?
And the spinster. The widow and the orcs. Hoarded by the dragon. There's something about dragons. Getting it on with gargoyles. Gotten by the gator. Mated to the mountain bear. Oh, so this is why they chose the bear.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Did you ever think any different? It's like 8 foot tall.
Well,
there
is something.
Orc.
What?
Moth manager. It's a bird, it's a plane, no wait, it's true love. The Mothman.
Wolves and whipped cream. The wolf in my tavern. Pounded by produce. Oh.
GM Fairy. A veggie love tale. Oh my goodness.
What? Are these the books the Nazis burned?
My husband only reads finance and sci-fi books, and so I think it's about time that I introduce him to some real literature. So the first book that I would like to introduce you to is called Morning Glory Milking Farm. And it's not a normal milking farm like with cows. What it is it's big, bulky Minotaurs, and it's a special type of milking.
See, honey, she's his stepsister, and she got stuck in the washer machine.
Okay. File the divorce papers now, right? But okay, so do you want to get to what I thought was the most interesting thing, which is like why? Let me see if I can get to it.
Oh yes. I think I brought that up when we covered it with the writers retreat, which was a patron thing. So if you're interested in a deeper dive into Morning Glory Milking Farm, you can also go to feedthebadger.com/subscribe and get access to that, which it was interesting. We had Mike. You were there. We had Mike do the puppeteering. He was the narrator.
I was not there for the puppeteering part, but I was there for the meetup. Yeah.
Yeah. So so Mike did the puppet. He did the narration and via puppet. So it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
and
I bet.
Yet also a little disturbing. Okay.
The jokes tell themselves.
Exactly. All right.
So let's listen to this part.
Popular with women in particular. Like, you rarely see the opposite, and when you do, it's just like a girl with cat ears and fangs, or like a 10-foot tall dommy mommy vampire with giant titties. Meanwhile, women are like, I want to.
Yeah, I just ran into her today on my stream. This vampire lady here, Lady Dimitrescu, I think. Anyway, it's a video game thing. Okay, moving on.
Meanwhile, women are like, I want to the pollution monster from Fern Gully. So people on Reddit asked this very question. Let's see the responses. Why do you guys like monster romances? Asking for a friend. Several reasons. 1, human men are quite often terrible. Romance books with human men are already partly fantasy, but monsters just takes the fantasy bit further. 2, it's sort of human nature to imagine relationships with paranormal beings and creatures. We've been doing it in literature and art for centuries. It's just gotten a lot more graphic now, lol. 3, unique body forms / parts and so many different kinds of dicks.
Okay. Yeah, this is actually in the book. It starts with a derogation, like a denigration of men, and how human men are not worthy, and they're not sufficient, and they're awful. And then you go into the monster porn for women. So you talked about how equivalent would be a man writing, I don't know, being a harem full of succubi, and then talking about how he's reclaiming the means of reproduction for men from the gynarchy. And well, it's worse than that, because the story would also have to start about how, I don't know, 3D girls are gross, that every aspect of a female's body is gross, and that women are horrible beings, horrible people. Therefore, he deserves a succubi, a harem of succubi, because women are just not worth his time. You'd have to start with that, and then go into the political implications and all the justification and the cope and all of this intellectualizing your gooning material. And you have to have a high IQ to appreciate Minotaur meat and all of this other crap. But you'd have to start with denigrating human women. Denigrating them as partners.
They don't go there, because the male fantasy is essentially like a girl who is nice to him. Like, even if she, remember the wheelchair anime?
Yeah.
With the woman in the the girl in the wheelchair, and it was like everywhere, and like the human women online were like, oh, you want to rape disabled people? It's like, no, we're not interested in rape, unlike you guys.
Yeah.
They wanted something wholesome. They were drawn to it because it was wholesome, and these women online could not compute it. They couldn't compute it. So it isn't even like I made the succubi thing. I was exaggerating for a point, because I'm trying to find something that's even vaguely similar to what these women are doing with
Yeah.
their fiction. But I think in most cases, you know, I don't even think that men want a harem because it's like a lot to manage. I think they just want a woman to take care of in most cases. That's probably enough as it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And someone who's going to be nice to him, like that's like it's not even the bare minimum. It's like below that.
It's like that one meme that was done by that author or that artist, and the male fantasy was taking care of, maybe taking care of a harem, but treating all of them nice, and the female fantasy was being raped by a demon.
Yeah.
And it's not, is that there is a kernel of truth to that, and yet women say that men are the horrible ones. Maybe the problem is that men aren't horrible enough. Maybe the problem is that you get bored by guys what they actually want, which is probably kids and a loving wife. That's their big fantasy, right? Maybe they have a little bit more hardcore stuff that they goon to, that, you know, they keep in a paper bag. But for the most part, apparently, according to surveys, it's a loving relationship and having kids. And maybe that's just too boring for the average woman, or whatever it is that these women are seeking through their sexuality. Probably somebody to say no to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. You know, Hieronymus Bosch, the artist, he made some paintings that some of these women probably would get into. But anyway.
Scary, mean, terrifying creature is sweet to her, kind, takes care of her, protects her, works hard to be gentle, etc. Maximal escapism, minimal association to real-life assholes, the patriarchy, misogyny, and oppression of women, etc.
Okay, so here it is. You see what I talk about? How feminism destroys relationships between men and women? If conservatives are wondering where morning glory milking farm and all of the other distorted, disturbing shit that they find in kids' cartoons, I mean, they're going to blame it on LGBT. No, it's women. There's also sissification as a female fetish as well. This is women. It's why some of these trans girls are actually seem to be more Munchausen's by proxy done by their mother, forcing them into the role, because it's a fetish for women. Sissification is a fetish for women. Forcing men to look like women, forcing boys to look like women or behave like women is a long-standing fetish for women. So you can blame LGBTQ, but it starts with women. It all starts with women. This is 100% women. You can't deny it. And this is 100% the result. Well, maybe not 100%. It's also, you know, apparently having sex with Minotaurs is something that even the ancients recognized about women. But, you know, a good portion of it is encouraged by this bullshit narrative that men oppress women. This is nonsense. Like, she's basically saying minimal escapism, minimal association to all of the bullshit that I believe about men that isn't actually substantiated. Right? This is just her ingesting the things that feminists have told her about men. This is just her regurgitating the things that she's been told about men because of feminist conjecture about reality, which is false. Now, she may use this to justify why she's interested in these things, and maybe she would have been interested in these things because women are deeply degenerate perverts and have always been. But this is what she uses to justify. This is what she uses to turn you into the villain when you say this doesn't belong in kids' cartoons, this doesn't belong in public libraries, this doesn't belong in Barnes & Noble. This is what she's using to inflict her sexuality on everyone. And that sexuality, incidentally, also includes sissification of boys and men. And that is the liberal woman's infliction of her sexuality on everyone. Nobody can say no to her, because that is an act of patriarchal oppression. And it is the worst thing you can ever do to women. And even conservatives, many conservatives buy into that narrative. There's no sanity in that narrative. There's no sanity within that context. There's no sanity believing that lie. It results in the unraveling of everything. That lie results in the unraveling of everything and the justification of degeneracy like this. And again, if they just had it, if this was paper bag fare and you don't do your business in shame and secret, that's fine. So be it. Right?
Yep.
This isn't. This is now publicly displayed, proudly displayed. It is rebellion. It is a woman's prerogative. It is her rebellion against the evil forces, which conservatives themselves buy into for the most part. Right? It's everywhere. And there, like I said, there is no sanity and there is no future within this narrative that men oppress women. There is nothing but waste and the end of times, the end of days. Right? That two roads here, guys, two roads. One, continuing to believe that men oppress women, and you get the end of economic prosperity. You get the rise of tribalism and the destruction of a civil society. You get all of this shit, or we stop. And then maybe we get to go on Mars, and then maybe we get to go to Alpha Centauri, and then maybe we get to be a star-faring species. So you got your two choices here, human race. We continue on the path of feminism. We continue on the path of destroying the central relationship that humanity is based on, human progress is based on, human peace is based on, everything worth having is based on. We destroy our perception of that relationship, and we inherit the wages of that sin. Or we stop and we do a good hard course correct. We get rid of all of this feminist influence over academia, over schools, over government, over policymakers. We get rid of that and we become better people. People who understand ourselves better. And maybe we have a shot at the stars or some dignity as a species. Choose, because it's one or the other. You got to make your choice. All right.
And oppression of women, etc., etc. Because the monsters are less dangerous than dating actual men. As a fat woman of color, modern, contemporary, and even fantasy romances are hard to click to because they are almost always about thin white women and just too realistic, and romance in real life is not always attainable for fat women/women of color. In monster alien romance, though, my size doesn't matter, and it's easier to get into that headspace and enjoy it.
Like, seriously, I'm pretty sure you could probably find a fat man to have romance with.
But they don't want the fat man. Have you seen those covers? That, like, guys, if do you understand that? Well, let me hear the rest of these first.
Sick of the men on Earth and looking for some variety. Non-humans haven't betrayed and hurt me, so they feel like a safe haven, if that makes sense. Plus the unusual dick. Monsters have big, fun-shaped cocks. I love some bizarre peen. Unique genitalia.
Okay, let's put this in perspective, because I want you guys to see how sad this is, okay? These are, by their own admission, fat, probably like less than average attractiveness women that are reading romantasy books. And when asked why, they say that regular men are not up to snuff. So these women are below average, and they're judging like real flesh and blood men and measuring their worth against fantasy men that have been made up, who are all like, 7 foot, 8 foot tall, 8-pound cocks, part beast, like all muscle, dominating, like could destroy anyone but chooses to protect them, which, by the way, is a mating strategy that women go for. If they can't go for high status men through their ability to earn money or acquire resources, they go through men who are willing to and able to commit violence against other people to get resources. So it's like the drug dealer, gangbanger guy, or it's like the business guy, right? But as long as they're able to do that, that's what the woman is drawn to, which is why in like urban communities, let's put it that way, the guys, the pimps and criminals and drug dealers and gangbangers that are willing to do violence get all the women, and the men who are just working like a minimum wage job that are making a decent living, they get nothing, even if they're like working really hard, because they're not measuring up to that, right? And so these like monstrous men, these dragon men, these werewolves, these minotaurs, whatever, they are the equivalent of that for these women. And these women, they won't even want Chad. They want Gorgoth, the half-orc
destroyer,
champion of the tribe. Like, they want a dude that doesn't exist. That's the Giga Chads of today give them the ick. That's how high the standards are for these women now, right?
Well, how could they be anything but?
Chick. What?
Well, how could they be anything but? Remember your anecdote. How can it be anything but when human men are subject to this massive advertising campaign to minimize their value and destroy it? Like, how can you get anywhere but all men are not worthy? All men are not worthy of human women. Somehow, the men that evolved alongside human women just aren't worthy of them. And that is not actually the stupidest thing you've ever heard. Like, literally, 50 million years, 500 million years of evolution, and human men are just not worthy of human women. After all of this evolution, they're not worthy of you, ladies. They're not worthy of you. That's absolutely flippin' absurd. That's ridiculous on its face. And the end result of that narrative of men oppress women, that is the end result. Men are just not worthy of us. They're just not worthy of us. So we have to dream. There's no longer Chad or Super Chad. It has to be the cow. It has to be the Minotaur. It has to be the werewolf. It has to be something that is masculine but not human. That's what this is. Masculine but not human. Because men are not worthy of women, because men oppress women, and men are horrible to women. But it's all a lie that we've been telling ourselves for 100 years. It's all a lie that we've been telling ourselves. It's a complete bullshit, guys. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't bullshit, feminist framework would have some kind of predictive quality or some kind of predictive value and validity. It has none. It has inverse predictive validity. Right? At this point in time, this is a failed conjecture about reality. It is wrong. It is incorrect. It is a lie. And this is what we believe when it comes to something so fundamental to everything that we do, the relationship between men and women. Okay, and go back to, you said there was a chick once.
So on the Call Her Daddy podcast recently, I forget her name, but the wife of Steph Curry. Steph Curry is a superstar American professional basketball player, professional athlete, over 6 feet tall, super rich, got probably has, I don't know. He plays for the Golden State Warriors of the national basketball of the NBA. Okay. Point guard. Really rich, really famous, high status, peak status. I don't think there's very few people up there. And she was on the Call Her Daddy podcast talking to, the Mossad agent or whatever, the CIA plant that runs it, and was basically telling her that she doesn't want to have kids and she didn't really want to get married. She's married and she has kids, but she's telling this woman that she didn't really want those things. And what I'm saying is, Steph Curry is that's 1 in a million, that guy. And there is a woman married to him that's I don't know. I don't feel free. She doesn't feel free. And then she was talking about that on the podcast. And I was thinking, that's the highest you can get as a woman. And you're still taking it for granted. And there are men watching that. There are men looking at that. And they're like, okay, women are not happy no matter what we have. Nothing helps. Nothing does it. And I think so. This is the other end of the spectrum. First, you have the women at the bottom of the totem pole that are reading romantasy, and they're still expecting their dudes to be like 800-pound, half man, half gorilla, half reptile, like chimera monsters with giant dicks that are able to like lay down pipe and dominate them, but not rape them, and also kill on command for them if they desire it, and just have all the power. And they're at the bottom of the barrel, right? They have no prospects except they just want sexual freedom all the time. And then you have the women at the very top that are getting like the best men, and they're all unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
They're all unhappy.
What do you fucking, and I don't mean you, Brian, because I know you understand this. What do you fucking expect?
Yeah.
What did you do to yourselves, humans? Oh, men oppress women. Men oppress women. What the fuck did you expect from that? Did you think that you were going to get heaven? Did you think you were going to get rainbows, utopia, and freaking unicorns from embracing something so fucking stupid? What did you think, humans? What did you think? God damn, you need a fucking cosmic bitch slap, because this is the stupidest framing of the most essential relationship for your society. This is sucking a tailpipe level of stupidity, a level of species levels of stupidity. Just flat out stupidity. How are you going to get to Alpha Centauri with this bullshit? How are you going to? The answer is you are not. All right.
All right, let's get back to the video.
I don't know what I was expecting, honestly. A lot of women's smut, especially monster smut, is about submission, domination, forced breeding, non-consensual consent. The women are like conquered and taken and overpowered by these monsters. And I think many of these women are reading these books containing monsters and not men because masculinity and dominance in men has been completely demonized in modern society. But the truth is, many women still crave it. You see, the monsters in these stories have those like dominant masculine traits.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of obvious. Like the men in their monster books are just the monsters in their books are substitutes for men, and they're not able to square the cognitive dissonance. So they just say stupid shit like, "Well, real men suck, but these like bestial barbarian orc men are okay, right?" For some reason, they don't really want the orc warlord though. They just say that, right? So,
well, yes, it's like I've said in previous episodes, this is like a tar pit that women get into. And again, I know I'm calling out conservatives, but they have a problem with this. They keep blaming men, but there's nothing men can do to pull women out of this tar pit. Nothing. The only thing they can do is to hold them to standards so that women can pull themselves out eventually. But it's a self-referential, like it's a self-reinforcing tar pit that these women are in, right? They are reinforcing each other's delusions. And and a lot of the reason why these tar pits happen is simply because we don't address issues of toxic competition between women. Women police each other's reproductive opportunities because they don't want competition for their own. Like actual functional societies recognize this and deal with it. Because a lot of this stuff, they talk about how men are not good enough or something, but a lot of this stuff is a result of the pressure being put on them by their girlfriends. Their girlfriends don't want to see them succeed because then they have to deal with toxic levels of envy and jealousy. So what do? They gaslight their friends into thinking they deserve a freaking space minotaur trillionaire who owns like a galactic center. It's just like this is what, and we don't even have a language to talk about the toxicity that women inject into each other's lives and relationships. We're only beginning that to see how bad it is. And it's social media that's showing us. And then we have all of these people who are running interference. We're recognizing the problems that women are creating for themselves through their toxic socialization with each other. I don't know. I just wonder if maybe women were kept, the Taliban keeps women apart for a reason. That was pretty dark. Okay.
All right. I got a super chow from Pepito.
Islam was right about women.
He gives us $25 and says, reclaiming our sexuality from the gynocracy is unironically something we should consider, given what women seem to enjoy reading. Thanks for the show. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
all
have
right.
your Minotaur porn. Men can have their waifu bots. Okay.
All right. So yeah, let's get back to this, I guess.
That women like so much, but they're not human men. They have all these traits women desire without the problematic baggage human men bring, without being the men they hate or have been told to hate. It is the perfect guilt-free slop. But they don't just want a wild dominant man, they want to tame a wild dominant man. Similar to when a man sees an art hoe with a nose ring, you can save her from her daddy issues. You can do it. It definitely won't backfire and ruin your life. Go for it. Go talk to her. With many women, there's this desire for like danger and aggression, but also the desire to tame that danger and aggression. The desire to be that special woman who can melt his heart. You see, my dragon boyfriend could rip me to shreds and kill me instantly, but he won't because he's nice and he loves me. But honestly, at the end of the day, just like the video I made about the anime girl in a wheelchair where men were saying, this is the average male fantasy, and a bunch of women were like, you wanna rape a disabled girl? When in reality, it was just a distilled manifestation of the average male fantasy, which is to protect and provide for a sweet woman and save her. This is like basically the flip of that, right?
I don't think there's the flip of that though. I mean, that's a hard flip.
That's a hard flip.
That's a really, like, you could say it's the flip, but the flip of a man rescuing a woman who is nice to him would be a woman being rescued by a man
she's
who
nice
is nice to her, not ravaged by by like a monster. But you know, even getting away from the romantasy books, even the standard smut involves something similar in terms of tone, except the men are human. They're like, you know, it's like, I don't know, like a Southern Belle, and like there's like a Native American warrior that's like, you know, that has his way with her. Some strange man, maybe he's a little bit foreign, maybe he's of a lower class, you know, something like that.
Yeah, there is that, and then there's also the fact that, you know, like billionaires are sort of these kinds of strange, as human as you get, but as like almost fae, like from another world, perhaps would be the way to put it.
Otherworldly, like a vampire.
Yeah, other world. Well, because they're from a very different class from the.
Or yeah, or like a different class. Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. It's like this. It's like a fetish for the foreign, for the outsider, whether it's a monster or it's just like a guy from another world, maybe speaks a different language, you know, something like that.
Okay, so
like Tarzan.
Shall we go to the next video and just do a few segments of that? I think that I don't know. I don't agree with this. I don't think it's a flip, because I think that men want women.
Men generally don't think women are trash.
Yeah, then you know, men don't usually start, even the monster waifus, like I don't think they start with women are trash. It's just a woman plus, you know, with cute little horns.
Yeah, it's a naga. It's a dragon girl. It's a cat girl, whatever.
Yeah, it's like this. The original.
All right.
Lum.
We're going to go to the next one.
Cute little horns. There you go.
Oh, Lum. Urusei Yatsura. Yeah, it was a great, I used to love that book. It's funny as hell.
This is the monster girl. A little bit different, huh? Than the Minotaur.
Well, created by a woman.
Yeah.
Rumiko Takahashi, the writer and artist of Lum.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. There we go.
All right. So next is Why Morning Glory Milking Farm is a critique about late stage capitalism and toxic masculinity. Right. All right, let's get into it. I'm just going to jump into the first talking point. Lactation Nation, the political economy of monster fluids. This is not a joke. This is what this is not a post.
Yes, I mean, she's making it slightly funny, but this is she's also thinks that this is a genuine critique. So
Yeah.
she believes this genuinely. Yeah.
About her final conclusion, but okay.
So at first glance, Morning Glory Milking Farm seems like it has a strange, kooky premise. The story is about a financially desperate human woman who takes a job manually stimulating anthropomorphic minotaurs for pharmaceutical semen-grade extraction. But when you view it through a critical, theoretical lens, and preferably a pair of latex gloves, it becomes more apparent that the text is not mere smut, but a sophisticated allegory exploring the intersection of neoliberal economic structures and the disintegration of traditional masculine identity.
What?
You weren't
Just
listening?
because yeah, no, I was okay, that was a flat what, Brian? Neoliberalism and the disintegration of the masculine identity? The hell do you don't even I'm pretty sure this is a lesbian. You don't know from what when it comes to the masculine identity, lady. Like, what the hell is that nonsense?
How do you know that she's a lesbian?
I'm pretty sure from a previous different episode of this.
Oh, okay. No, I mean I'm trying to like look for the clues like on her wall, I guess all the paintings and stuff and the tattoos. Maybe. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, I mean don't quote me on that. She might not be. But even so, she's a woman opining about masculine identity. Nothing has changed about the masculine identity for the most part. Right? Still protecting, still providing, still doing the jobs that nobody else wants to freaking do because they're disgusting, dangerous, and uncomfortable. So hasn't really changed. Still trying to appeal to women, many of them still do. So yeah, it's just that women don't find that attractive unless it has with a 16-inch horse cock attached. Like, that's because you guys are freaks. And you're making it more and more apparent with every freaky choice you make why every lasting religion on the planet has put some serious constraints on you. And in fact, Christianity was one of the most progressive, shall I say? Like a previous paganism. Yeah, they put even more constraints on women than this. Like Christianity is almost like, well, we're going to put constraints on you, but we're going to give you respect. Previous forms of paganism were like, no, you're not even human. And you guys are starting to make it seem like we should maybe go back to that. Maybe go back
paganism?
Well, maybe not. I would prefer.
No, I think that. Well, I don't know. I will. She's saying that this is a product of late stage neoliberal capitalism. I think that this is a product of women's liberation and a fall away from God. And I think that my position is stronger based on the fact that we know that this is a product of absolute, unquestioning, non-judgmental women's sexual liberation. Not even men's, okay? Like men are not making, as far as I know, they're not. This woman here, by the way, over 500,000 subscribers. Read with Cindy, okay? So not a small channel, at least not to me. I don't know if like I think a big channel starts at like 100,000, and maybe that's being a little bit generous, okay? Because a lot of men's rights activists have small channels, and I think a lot of it is to do with the algorithm and like our talking points are unpopular. But like if you're doing feminist content, you can get into the millions very easily. So
everybody likes feminist content.
Over 100K. Huh?
Everybody understands it because everybody exists within that lie that men oppress women.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys be the judge. Is Morning Glory Milking Farm downstream of women's liberation and falling away from God and secular humanism, or is it a product of late stage capitalism? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no, he's a critique.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Saying it's a critique of late stage capitalism. So
yeah, but
she's not saying it's a product of it.
No, but it exists because we're in a late stage capitalist system, according to her, right? So like if we weren't in late stage capitalism, there wouldn't be a need for the book because She's not just
Oh,
saying that
I
it's
see.
a
I see
comment
what you're
on
saying.
something theoretical like Animal Farm. She's saying that it is she's framing it in that it is a commentary on the world we live in today. So it's a product of it, or or at least it's like a cry for help from a woman living under late stage capitalism to have to take a job milking bull minotaurs, with her bare hands. So,
All right,
and
gotcha.
loving it too, by the way. What?
Gotcha. All right,
I
let's keep.
think. I mean, I watched both
No,
videos.
I get you. I get what you're saying. So she's saying that this is made necessary by late stage capitalism. This critique of patriarchy, which is what she means by late stage capitalism, and the destruction of masculinity. So patriarchal backlash is what they usually mean by that. This critique is made necessary by these factors that she's identifying. I get it. I get it.
Right. Or it
Okay,
is a product of that. But anyway.
Let's start with our main protagonist, Violet. She is your typical down on your luck, mid-20s millennial woman who is educated, unemployed, burdened with student debt, and desperate for a job. Any job to make ends meet. Some of you broke bitches could relate in today's job market. And
it's going to get worse.
Coming up.
So she's saying, see, like right there, it's my point. She's saying that this character's life reflects our life. So,
Yeah,
or at
and
least
it's
that's her claim, right?
superficiality too. She bemoans her inability to buy Starbucks. Like, that's it. Like, she wants to be able to.
Well, the thing is too is that she's in college debt, and even Shu kind of like said, "Oh, that's just like me." But none of these women have thought maybe college is stupid. Like, not like it didn't even come across. Maybe I got ripped off. Maybe this isn't the fault of capitalism or some abstraction that I can't actually pinpoint, like the existence of property. Maybe it's not like my government did this to me or whatever. Maybe it's you didn't do the research.
Diligence.
And I would take the blame myself for not doing that. You didn't consider that maybe college is stupid and you didn't have to do it. Maybe you just bought into the line that everyone is supposed to go, and you put yourself in debt, and you didn't take your major seriously. So you took like fucking film critical film media literacy or whatever, or underwater lesbian basket weaving, or interpretive dance or whatever, and you came out 6 figures in debt, and you're blaming the system. But and on some level, you have to be like, I can accept it. Like, I went to art school twice, and I'm like, that was stupid. I shouldn't have done it. And I'm done. It's behind me now in the rear view. That happened. I will tell people from now on, really take it seriously if you're thinking about going to college. Because and I think, honestly, I think that people that go to college are given a shitty education on purpose, given a shitty degree they can't use on purpose, so that when they come out the other side, 6 figures in debt, they haven't gotten the degree that will get them anything. They can't get a decent job. And most of these women are just handed a degree anyway, even if they're not trying that hard, because most of them don't pursue anything that actually requires like a significant amount of training. But one thing they did learn is how to criticize capitalism and the system for it. So they come out in debt and they're mad at capitalism.
They're mad at an abstraction rather than mad at the institutions, the predatory institutions that have led them along this path.
Or themselves for their bad decisions.
And I would actually argue that they can get mad at government too, because it's government regulation that allows colleges to create these debts that you can't, like, that the bankruptcy laws around student loans, student debt is different than bankruptcy around loans, bankruptcy laws around anything else. They can't declare bankruptcy. So there is a lot of incentive for these colleges to offer these programs that are useless, get these kids into debt, and knowing that they can't actually go bankrupt on their debt. It's secured, right? Maybe we should allow these students to go bankrupt. That would mean these institutions would really start thinking about the cost-benefit analysis of what they're offering, so that they make sure that the person that they're giving these loans to can pay it back. And then we're going to see a very different college landscape. So she's blaming late-stage capitalism. I blame predatory loan practices when it comes to education that are enabled by the state.
Yeah, well, these people don't understand that that's why they use the word capitalism, because they think that when the government can be involved in capitalism too, is how they see it, even though I think those things are mutually exclusive. So that, but yes, I agree. I just don't think they would. I think they would say it's all the system. We got to tear it all down. But of course, they're women, so they're not actually going to put any skin in the game. They're just going to have men do it for them because that's what they do.
Yep.
They're going to appeal to the patriarchy to defeat the patriarchy, which is to tear down the system.
But
What
it's
is
interesting.
Antifa? So,
Yeah,
it's a bunch of
Antifa
men simping for women.
Yeah, wanting to get an identity as their savior through their
Yeah.
weird political shenanigans. What I was going to no, okay, let's just keep going. Let's do some more.
All right.
To look forward to. This is how she ends up applying to become a milking technician at Morning Glory Milking Farm. And this is a pharmaceutical company that's part of an underground industry that helps human men achieve erections with a little blue pill. But an essential ingredient to these Viagra dupes that we have is the Minotaur semen, because Minotaurs are much more virile. So as the milking technician, Violet is part of the several employees that are responsible for milking Minotaurs in order to collect more liquid units.
You notice that metaphor? Not only does she describe men as being subpar partners, being awful people, part of the patriarchy, she essentially those comments are repetitions of what is said in the actual text. You remember Shu showed us the comments that it's about men are patriarchal.
Well,
they're oppressive.
the book, it seems, is saying that human men are insufficient.
Yes.
And they all need these pills, which are made by these Minotaurs.
Superior men.
And the women end up banging the Minotaurs, which probably starts a revolution of women banging Minotaurs, because I think there's going to be more books in the series. I shit you not. And they're going to have an uprising, and they're going to overthrow and destroy all the human men, because the human men can't get it up, because women always default to attacking men's sexuality.
Yeah, so but they're basically saying that men are insufficient sexually as well. They don't have the sufficient virility that these women want, and they're also patriarchal and oppressive and say no to them and their sexual desires or whatever the hell else. So, I mean, this is just like I wish conservatives would look at this and then ask themselves, what tools have I given my son to actually make a dent in any of this crap? Because this is a gigantic tar pit of women reinforcing their own toxic attitudes about relationships and men in a completely delusional space. And it goes beyond just the degeneracy of their literature. And we missed the part where Shu talks about Stardust.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of skipped
before.
over it because we've already talked about it. But
there is sexual entitlement that's leading to them to become sexually violent on a scale never seen before, potentially. And there's also their attitudes towards men's right to say no has gotten worse. Like this is almost like a demonic energy that has consumed these women. And the honest to God truth is that I'm not going to even talk to like the parents of progressive parents, because you're too far gone. I don't know. I hope your son becomes a femboy or a trans woman, because that's about the only way he's going to survive his life. But I'm talking to conservatives. If you are counseling, if you're blaming your son for not being able to find a wife, you are putting him in the jaws of danger with these people, with these women, because this needs to be avoided as much as possible at this point. It's the only thing I can counsel, is that women like this need to be avoided. Luckily, they don't seem to want anything to do with human males except to rape them. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, it's wrong to blame boys and men for not being able to somehow lead women out of this tar pit. It's just wrong. And women have got to choose to get out of it of their own accord. And that's something they're going to have to decide. This is the Rubicon for women. They're going to have to decide whether or not they want to continue to live in hell I mean, do you remember that What Dreams May Come? It was a movie with Robin Williams who goes to the afterlife, and he has a vision of hell, and it's just these people like that just welded into this gigantic plane, and they can barely move, and they're just wittering to themselves nonsense, justifying where they are and what they're doing. Like they're just locked in this solipsistic loop, and it's just a plane of people stuck in the ground, going nowhere. That's their life. That's these women's lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And men cannot get them out of it. You get involved with a woman like that, she's just going to drag you into it. Women have to make the choice to get out of it themselves. They have to make the choice to dig themselves out of the concrete that they're the dirt and filth and concrete that they've embedded themselves in, and the tar. Men cannot save them. That's probably the message that most destroys the reach of our channel. If I was here telling men, yeah, keep trying. I'll give you a 10-point a 10-point map to save women from the tar pit, we probably would have more reach. But I honestly don't see how men can save them at this point. There's too many voices whispering in their ear, like whispering poison in their ear. They've reinforced their own imprisonment too much. They don't even have a language for freedom anymore, these women. Okay.
All right.
That's depressing thought.
This whole setup shows that Violet is doing what many have done before her. She is selling bodily labor in exchange for fleeting stability. This goes to show how financial desperation often overrides social taboos or personal discomfort. Yeah, you might think that this whole setup is weird, but I know some of you American bitches would do the same thing for dental coverage. This actually parallels a lot of the real world gig economy out there, whether that's rideshare drivers or OnlyFans creators. Violet's work is both
so you will
and undervalued.
You will jack off Minotaurs for a dental plan, but you won't engage in a respectful monogamous relationship with a man who loves you so that you can create a family together.
Yeah.
You are so like these women are so much in hell. Like I said, they don't even have a language for freedom anymore.
Well, they don't know what it is.
No.
They really just want security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She becomes hired not because of her humanity, but
it's also funny that she's doing all this and she's like looks pretty freaking comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like on a big ass couch, under some blankets. It's warm. She's got electricity, running water, heat, air conditioning, most likely. She's got paintings on her wall. She's got a laptop. I don't have a laptop. I'm a man. Where's my standard issue patriarchal laptop at? Where is it? I mean, it's just crazy that you can have it. This is the thing. Like the bubble these people live in, it is so secure. They have no idea how good they have it. So they just criticize their conditions all the time. And that's why they can't be happy. That's how you know they're actually in hell, because they're miserable, but they have like a life that even people who are alive to get today in the same country as them, they would be extremely grateful for. I don't have to go to like a third world country or something, or some like, place that's like in a constant war, like in South America or Africa or something. I can just say, like, if she's in New York or if she's in Los Angeles, there are people in Los Angeles that would like kill to live like her, and she's still complaining. And she would probably tell them that they should be complaining too while she's living like this. Anyway.
Yeah.
Because of her dexterity. Her entry into the specialized extractive services of milking those milkers mirrors the experience of gig workers who are commodifying their time and bodies to survive late-stage capitalism.
What the fuck? Commodifying their times and so you exchange your labor for money. What else do you want to exchange it for? You could exchange it for affection and a filial relationship by being a stay-at-home mom, or just taking part in the enterprise of family. What else do you want to exchange it for? Not being killed, not being put in a gulag, like being able to eat? Like, honestly, what utopia do you think that late stage capitalism is preventing you from being part of? Do you think it's preventing you from being part of a communist utopia? Have you ever been in one? I have. I actually visited Soviet Russia. It was horrifying. Beautiful architecture. No food. No fucking food. This was supposed to be an advanced society, more advanced than the third world country. Well, my family, we would travel because Saudi Arabia would kick us out once every 6 months, so we had to. And incidentally, my father was just a geophysicist. He wasn't. He's not a Saudi prince for the people that think that's no. He was a geophysicist. He worked in an office with a tie, and he did programming, right? So we would travel the world. And one time, I guess, I don't know why my parents thought that going to the Soviet Union would be interesting. I don't know. I don't think they were commies. So we went with a bunch of British commies to the Soviet Union. Okay? There was no freaking food. They gave us soup, but the soup was like the water that they washed the potatoes off in. Right? And they called that soup. And I lived on Kinder Surprise eggs from like gift stores where they'd actually sell stuff, right? I remember there was a piece of pork that I ate, and I remember it distinctly because it was so horrifyingly awful. It is the worst piece of meat I have ever eaten in my life. And I have traveled in the third world. And I remember getting that piece of meat, and it tasted like bile. It tasted like sweet and sour bile. And a 10-year-old me ran around the fucking foyer of the fucking Soviet Russia lobby trying to spit out this piece of meat. Like, I think I lost 10 pounds. And I wasn't particularly heavy as a child, right? Okay, my mother lost weight. She was pregnant. Everybody left. And we thanked God going back to Britain for British food. That was what it was like in Soviet Russia. It was horrifyingly awful. And everybody was miserable. They couldn't eat. They couldn't buy anything. You know who got to eat? The good party people. So, lady, you talking about dental plans? You're not going to have a dental fucking plan. You're not going to even be able to eat properly. That'll be for the good party people. I hope you know how to suck cock, because you're going to be sucking a lot of it to get that freaking roast beef sandwich in Soviet Russia. Good God. Like, this is why I'm like, the meritocracy. No, actually, people should be incentivized for their labor. We did a lot of work as the human race to get to the point where it was pretty much standard everywhere that people deserved something for their labor, right? It took us a while to get here, lady. It took us a while to get to the point where everybody can expect to get something for their labor, to get something that they can go and then exchange for food and pillows and teal lamps and lovely pictures and books like Milking Farm. It took us a while to get to this point, and women like this say, well, what if we could have some other medium of exchange? Well, you're a woman. Use your freaking kuya as your medium of exchange. God already gave you one. For the rest of us, I like money in exchange for my labor. I think most people do. And if they really think about it, they realize that other systems, not as good. Soviet Russia, why was anybody doing any work? Well, first of all, they weren't doing much because nobody had anything. Well, why were they doing it? Because otherwise, you end up in the freaking gulag or shot or starving. That's it. That was their incentive structure. You want to replace actually getting material wealth with that. Are you fucking mental? And I don't know what is wrong with women. I swear to God, this is like some kind of thing. This is a flaw in their psychology. Oh, all the billionaires. Okay, so what you're telling me is that our system of incentive structure produces people who are fantastically wealthy. It doesn't produce starvation, the Holodomor. It doesn't produce people who are constantly scrabbling and miserable. It doesn't produce gulags as a necessity to make people work. It produces millionaires. They just get the jackpot. So what? Stow your envy. Stow your envy as you sit on your comfortable couch, no doubt having eaten some lovely avocado toast and sipped your Starbucks latte, reading your book that would be banned in Soviet Russia. You think they're going to have books like this? Are you fucking mental? You'd probably be dragged out by your hair and put in a gulag for this book. The funny thing is that they were not fond of shit like this. Right? And if you had said, oh, this is a critique of late stage communism, 2 gulags for you. 2 gulags. Okay.
All right.
Oh, I did want to say one last thing. The
Yeah.
food, third world countries, consistently better than Soviet Russia. Right? You just go into like a mom and pop, delicious food. How is it that supposedly this advanced country that we're all supposed to aspire to now because you guys are fucking idiots, how come they couldn't manage to make good food? And yet you go to a third world country and at the very least, these people who are in poverty, they could eat well or reasonably well. Better than the middle class in Soviet Russia. Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
Heroine in the classical sense, but a symbolic representation of the proletariat, who is alienated from both her labor and her self-conception. Just like Marx's factory worker, she is selling her body's
this is
time
some
and function.
serious commie gobbledygook.
Morning Glory Milking Farm. It is the industrialized.
Okay, you know what that means? I understand it. I understand it. I understand the commie gobbledygook. She's alienated from her labor and her self-perception. What does that mean? That means that she uses her actions to afford a living for her instead of her vulnerabilities, right? She should just have shit handed to her. She should be able to identify with her vulnerabilities as tickets to get shit rather than her actions in terms of labor to earn what she gets. It's the fundamental contradiction here. This woman does not want to have to earn things through her actions. That feels foreign to her. Instead, she should be granted things by virtue of her existence and her subjugation by the culture. Like you see the violence inherent in the system, Brian? Mm-hmm. Women are subjugated by patriarchy, and instead of having that subjugation be a ticket to get stuff, which it is, but not enough, they have to work. They have to labor and earn it.
Yep.
Equality never was equality for women.
I'm going to jump ahead to the next chapter. Not past this. This one is Gig to Glenn. This one is, I think, the thing about toxic masculinity.
As you're staring at his juicy balls.
Yeah, critique of capitalism, everyone.
Erotic efficiency. The cow is the new cog.
There's a very deliberate choice when choosing to center the romance in this world around Minotaurs. It's not because we're appealing to the monster fuckers out there. It's much deeper than that, because the Minotaurs represent more than erotic fantasy. We often know them as hulking, stoic, performatively virile, and it's really interesting how they are essentially caricatures of the late capitalist male. You can see how their exaggerated masculinity with their horns, their bulk, their libido, even the excess gush of their semen just pouring out on the floors everywhere that makes the technicians have to clean up everything. All of that shows that it's not liberating, but confining.
Did you guys know that that's what Minotaurs always were? Remember when I said the original myth, women ruined Minotaurs Can I just say this? Because when I was a kid, I loved Greek mythology. I thought it was really cool. I liked watching those old. I actually watched Jason and the Argonauts, the old Ray Harryhausen. When I talked about a little bit on the show, he fights a Hydra, and they fight harpies, and there's a fight with Talos, the golem, and there's other movies with other Ray Harryhausen movies with all these like mythical beasts in them. And I didn't think of them as sexual creatures at all. Like, it didn't enter my mind. Even when I was like getting like a teenager, I thought of them as monsters, completely separate from the erotic. But for some reason, I don't know if it's modern women or just women, but they bring the sexuality into these things, and then they act like it was always there. Because she's like, oh, this is just what Minotaurs are. And I'm like, no, they have two-handed axes and they chase you around labyrinths to kill you and eat you. That's it. I don't even, as far as I know, like at the time, I didn't even think that they even had genitals, even though they were man bulls, but they were monsters. You didn't think of it. And she's actually normalizing it. Like, oh yeah, all of the semen. I'm like, really? That's not in my monster manual. I didn't read that, but she did. Like, this is crazy. I mean, yep. It's not really. I mean, women just sexualize everything. Like, they do. Well, they're way worse than men about that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think men they compartmentalize it. Okay, like they look at sexual things in a sexual context. So like when it makes sense, they do it. But I don't think they're thinking about it like when they're playing Halo, or I don't know, when like I don't know. I think women just are more like that. Well, I mean, it's just something we don't want to admit, but I think it's true.
Well, the thing is that it is actually scientific that women respond more sexually to more different types of stimuli. But that has actually been shown. But I just wanted to point out that when you listen to her, this is just someone's fetish, right? Like, that's all it is.
They're justifying a fetish, though. They're trying to intellectualize it.
Yeah, but now she's saying that these cows represent men, or these bulls represent men. Okay, let's can we hear the conclusion to this?
Yeah, let's go.
Conversation that the main character has with her love interest when she's asking if other Minotaurs know about this whole setup of other Minotaurs coming to the milking farm, literally and figuratively coming. She says, I don't know why I thought this place was unique. So do all Minotaurs know about this? He says, oh, they know all right. Most bulls do it. And if they haven't yet, believe me, they're thinking about it. There's no reason not to. Humans have commodified us, and the financial compensation for a natural bodily function is a no-brainer, especially once there's a mortgage to think about. Family men, forget about it. How else would they be able to take the kids to Blinksy Land? May as well get paid for what's going down the shower drain every day. He even says that they measured their balls. His balls hung fat and full, impressive regardless of the species, and if there was some sort of test they were required to pass, Violet had no doubt that his would have outshone any they were judged against. The bigger the testicles, the higher the rate of production. So they want to know that we're going to help them hit their
the thinly disguised fetish. These Minotaur men are measuring each other's balls. And this is a representation of
they get their balls measured in the factory.
Oh.
By the technicians. So they're not measuring each other. They're going in and they're being, it's literally like when you see in movies where they're like buying slaves, like male slaves, and they're looking at all of them to see what they want them for. It's that. It's like buying like sex slaves in a way. They're literally chattel, guys.
Okay, so what is her conclusion? Like this is the commodification of male sexuality. I don't know. I want to let's let her continue. Does she come to?
Notice how traditionally the symbol of male virility and rage has now been de-skilled. He is no longer a mythic beast, but an overworked client. His horns have become corporate branding. His libido is now tracked via performance analytics. Each milking session is a parody of both intimacy and productivity. These Minotaurs are paid not to feel, but to release. So the tragic figures of the hyper-masculine ideal, quite literally horned, hulking, and emotionally constipated, have now been reduced to walking and sitting symbols of toxic masculinity. They're pressured to perform, to dominate, and above all, to produce.
But
Their
also,
enormous needs are
they are more desirable than human men. They are the ultimate toxic, by her own admission, more desirable than human men, and the ultimate symbol of toxic masculinity, which is being exploited by the capitalist system for your bodily fluids. Okay, I think this is the most relevant to our interests here.
This is the section, right?
This is the section.
No, the rest of it's like, who cares? Yeah.
Are no longer a source of pride, but of dysfunction. They are not.
I think there's a reason why she's like covered up to her waist with her blankets. Just saying. She's this a little bit self-indulgent.
Lovers, but actually livestock in a system that sees their bodies as resources and their intimacy and vulnerability as a kink to be monetized. What normally would be a simple intimate activity that a lone Minotaur could do in the privacy of his own home, clogging the shower drain with his big fat semen, has now become a ritual of clinical ejaculation, which is symbolic of how the masculine archetype has now been reduced to function. But what makes the love interest—
Wait a second. What the fuck are you talking about? What do you think the masculine archetype was before? It's a function. Like that's the nature of masculinity, is they become their function. This is different because this biological function is actually considered valuable, which is actually really interesting to the deeper psychology of all of this. These men, they're these Minotaurs, their biology itself has worth.
Yeah.
Right? The big difference between them and men is, yes, they are bigger, but they're pretty much exactly the way that these women would define men, except they're bigger. And I mean, that's a big thing, like they're taller, they're stronger, they're more virile, they're more man. They're man, but more man. But the other thing that they have is inherent biological worth. They have an inherent worth. And that's interesting because these women are seeking something outside of actual men. They're seeking an inherent worth to masculinity, but they aren't allowed to see it in actual men. Do you see the prison now?
Mm.
Do you see the prison? They want to find this because they can finally justify their desire, but they aren't allowed to find it in men anymore because of feminism. It's like this gigantic cunt block that's feminism, and they can't find it. So they have to find it in this Minotaur morning glory milking farm, the inherent worth of men, a worth that can't be taken away, a worth that they can feel like they have earned as a woman. It's like fear of missing out is what drives them, and they don't feel it with the average man, but they could feel it with this creature whose masculinity has inherent worth. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
The Minotaurs have something they don't, something they have to seek, something they have to be worthy of. And there's a lot of conversation about how the spilling of the seed is like really, they get punished for it, and they're really upset when these women fail to capture everything, right? It's like they have to be worthy of it. They have to be worthy of being a receptacle of it, of this worth, of this biological worth. And it's like this thing, actually, I think it might have a deep symbolic meaning, just not what this woman thinks it is. These women who are reading this are seeking masculinity as having its own inherent worth, which is the very thing that feminists strip from masculinity by calling it toxic. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, and they're also like this is a fiction written by a woman who is trying to create what she thinks of the most um I don't know, like the most absurdly over the top expression of masculinity. And
Mhm.
it's exactly this extremely carnal, primal, physical thing. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know anything about this character's personality. She doesn't seem to care. I don't think the Minotaurs have anything. They're just nice to her, probably, the main
Well,
character.
they're a bit dominant. There's the guy, the main Minotaur is sort of a it
It's
it's
like what
based
but it's like
a
this
loving
it's what
dominant.
she basically he's an expression of what she wants in a man,
Yes.
but it's like
Yeah.
a very, like, cartoonishly over the top expression of that, right?
But
So,
what I'm
this
what
thing
I'm
that
sa
they've made isn't even real because most men are not that.
no.
Um, and
But what
if they're go ahead.
what I'm just because I'm trying to explain what I was getting at.
Yeah,
They're a
it's fine.
symbol of and if you actually read it, the amount of effort they put into describing how valuable the semen is, and how absolutely they like it they should be completely the women are just completely terrified of spilling a drop. Like every sperm is sacred kind of thing. And they're completely terrified of losing this value, this tremendous, profound value. And there's a lot of emphasis in it on the text. So I'm saying that the Minotaurs are a symbol of men being valued, men
Mhm.
having something, a recognition of having something value inherent. And that's what these women are seeking. And I say that because of how everything is structured, how the stakes are structured. Like, dropping a milliliter of this semen is like dropping nuclear fuel rods in any other story, Brian.
Mhm.
This is so valuable, and they are so much supposed to feel afraid of wasting this valuable commodity. And it's just an inherent part of being a man or being male in this story. Now, I'm saying that that's that is what they're idolizing. That is the
Yeah.
central
Well,
thing.
literally idolizing. It's
Yeah,
very much
it's
like
it's right in the title.
it's a
They're
yeah.
idolizing it. They are in worship to this masculine emergence. And I think
Mhm.
that's what they're missing. It's like, you could get that from any dude. You couldn't get that from your looks match, lady. Just be nice to your looks match. You'll get as much as you want whenever you want it. Unless,
Yep.
he has a physical handicap or difficulty, but
Just be a Minotaur, bro. Just be a Minotaur, bro,
or
and she'll like you.
alternatively,
She'll go out with you.
women could just realize that men have this value inherently and just seek it in their looks match, in their species-based looks match.
Yeah, and also that men are more than that. Like, a
Yes.
lot more than that.
Well, yes,
This
of
is
course
all
men are.
very earthly and physical and limited, like, there's if all of it has to do with what she wants, not what he wants. Like, you
But
said that, "Oh, he's kinda dominant, etcetera," but that's what she
yeah,
wants.
it is what she
It's
wants,
a
but
yeah.
if you read it, it's like the value that, and yes, it is very earthy and physical, but let's just start there. Let's just see a crack of light in the tar pit. It's very
Mhm.
earthy and physical, but it's something out of her hands. It's something she has to give him. It's a value that he has to give to her, and he doesn't have to. And she must seek it in him. That's what I'm getting at. She has to seek it because she doesn't have it.
I get
She
it.
has to serve it because she doesn't have it. She has to value it because she doesn't have it. And she has to respect it because she doesn't have it. And yes, it is very earthy, it's very primal, it's very lust based, but it's a start. Like maybe we could start moving that to, other qualities, spiritual qualities, emotional qualities. But at least at some level, she's saying, this is valuable. I don't have it. And the real problem is for whatever reason, she can only conceive of these things outside of her own species. That's the real problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get at. And I don't know if I'm conveying it properly.
Yeah, no, I get it. I do. Okay.
Is that he actually is a subversion of patriarchal ideals. He's ironically less monstrous than a lot of typical human men in romance novels. He's respectful, he's vulnerable, he's emotionally open. At one point, Violet has a
Yeah, but wait a minute. What about actual human men? Do you know any real human men, or is it all just the men in your novels? Isn't this just more feminists referencing feminist shit to make
But
points about reality?
yeah, she's less monstrous than the men who are also written by women.
Yeah.
Like what?
Than the
This is what I
monstrous
say
men in
about the
other
tar pit.
fictions. Yeah, what about real men? What about those?
Yeah, that doesn't
You
even
ever
come
met one
into
of
the
those?
equation. Yeah, well, this is what I say about the tar pit. It's like just self-referential. Like they write about men and then they're like, "Oh, this is what the way men are." And
Yeah.
it's like, how do you break into that? How does a man break into that? How does a man save a woman from this tar pit?
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
hard day at work, hard literally and figuratively. She's trying not to cry as she's trying to get the job done. And one of her clients tells her instructions and explains condescendingly about what she should try to do, even calling her a sweetheart in a very negative tone. And it just really sucks to feel so dehumanized like that.
Man is explaining
Oh,
how
now she's
to
being
pleasure.
now she's most affected again. Okay.
So a man is explaining to a woman how to like how to give him a hand job or work with this. So men don't even have the right to understand their own pleasure better than women. He
Not if they're
mansplained
going to
how
use
to
a
please her.
condescending tone in a fictional setting. No, of
And
course not.
okay, so let's
'Cause that
continue.
hurts real feelings.
She sees her next client, which is a Minotaur that she had been attracted to upon her first meeting, named Rook. Their next meeting, which was a surprise because she didn't even expect to see him again, is such a refreshing contrast to the awful experience that she had before because he's gentle to her. He asks her questions like if she's in school, do they treat her well here? Just basically questions about her life, essentially humanizing her more instead of just another cog in the machine. And so it shows how, as the love interest, he's being patient, honest, and gentle, and he is a rejection of the cold, emotionally stunted alpha stereotype. What's most intriguing—
Wait, what are you fucking talking about? So this is the big thing. Okay, so men don't ask you about your life. They, like I said, this is the tar pit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even
Humanize
if
her
you,
by saying, "How was your day?" Because
how
that
can,
never happens.
yeah, that's not like
Yeah.
the first thing that people say to each other. How do you get, like, how does a man get a woman out of this tar pit? First of all, he's constantly behind the 8 ball in terms of being a patriarchal oppressor. So every time he asks for anything in the relationship, she immediately can jump to, "Oh, you're selfish, you're commodifying me, blah, blah, blah." How do you have a relationship this one-sided? Like, how do you, like this, that you really gotta analyze the tar pit that women are in. Because
Mhm.
somehow, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows how to get them out of it? Like, I gotta really think about this. Okay, let's
All
we
right.
want to finish this? Is there another?
romantically interested in Violet,
I'm just going to do this section. I think that's it.
which
Yeah.
shows that what he's seeking through this cold clinical environment is not relief, but relationship. This suggests that even hypermasculinity beings yearn for intimacy in a society that often expects them to repress it. But there's an internal conflict going on inside Violet as she deals with her own romantic feelings for her client. But as we see throughout the book, what she learns might be the solution to dismantling the system.
All right. So
Oh my
she's
God, you
come to the
predicted it.
conclusion. I'm not going to watch any more of that. She's coming to the conclusion that the alpha male, super stoic, emotionless, dominant, toxically masculine stereotype is subverted by a guy who just wants to be tender and closer to a woman. And it took her reading the Morning Glory Milking Farm book about Minotaurs to discover that men could be human and maybe well, she doesn't even really discover it because she thinks this is all coming through the fiction and she's not talking to real life men. Like, that's not abnormal. That's most men want that. Like, these things are not zero sum either. Like, you need stoicism and reasonable and logical pathways for the purposes of being a better caring and compassionate and kind person. Like, these things are not diametrically opposed, and they're always framed this way. Like, oh, if you're rational, that means you're not emotional. No, you can use emotional impulses that tell you I should do this thing, like a guide where you should go, but you use the logic so you don't do something stupid to get there. That's all,
Yeah.
But anyway,
well, there was something I wanted to add to this. She talks about these characters not being stoic or not being alpha, but the only metric, the one who just didn't care about her, just was concerned about her performance because it's her job. Like, he just didn't care about her internal life. That wasn't him being stoic. It was just him being indifferent. And now this particular one cares about her internal life. That has nothing to do with stoicism, and it has nothing to do with toxic masculinity. Like, one just wanted to get the job done, just wanted her to do the job. That's it. The other had an interest in her as a person. That doesn't mean that the second one wasn't also stoic, right? Like, just a man having an interest in your feelings doesn't make him any less stoic than a man who doesn't have an interest in your feelings, ladies. Because stoic is about his feelings. You see what I'm saying, Brian?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, all right, I'm actually really curious now about tender as the flesh, erotic mutuality as class revolt. I think she's basically saying what you predicted she was going to say.
Should I just play a little bit of this then?
Yeah, sure, just a little bit. Let's see if she gets to an actual point.
The first time she meets Rook, the love interest, she is instantly attracted, especially being in such close proximity and intimacy. For example, in the scene of their first meeting, she says, "Please just let me know if I'm using too much pressure." She called out hesitantly, having her Kirime say similar things to clients brand new to the farm. Or not enough pressure, just let me know. A short grunt was her only response, and she shrugged to herself, gripping the turgid length once more. He definitely responded to that. You weren't imagining it. There was nothing on his chart, she read from where it was propped on the table before her. No preferences, no technician notes, nothing more than his initials and age and weight, followed by the 8-digit identification number and barcode, matching that of the adhesive label that she would affix to his bottle. No noted preference, but as she slipped her finger beneath the loose pucker of skin once more, the Minotaur grunted again, his breath hitching when she circled around the flared underside. There's an interesting juggle of these two different feelings going.
Yeah, there's juggling going on for sure. That made me uncomfortable. This is on YouTube.
Yeah.
This is on YouTube. This woman has over 500,000 subscribers.
This is on YouTube. No doubt it's monetized, and we cannot have a discussion about rape in the context of statistics and research without getting demonetized.
Yeah.
It's this freaking ridiculous.
So, okay, she's going to take that and turn it into something academic.
Okay, let's hear it.
Going on where you're trying to be professional and responsible. You're literally diluting each Minotaur as clients that only have identification numbers, no technician notes, only basic stats. Despite all that, she can't help but want that big, bold dick. And that is the spark of a revolutionary mindset. Later at home, she flicks the bean of her own coochie and imagines him while doing that. In fact, she imagines him in all kinds of scenarios that wouldn't be appropriate for the workplace. And it's not until post-nut clarity that
this is literally,
herself, oh my God, what am I doing?
This is literally women incapable of simply finding men sexually attractive. This is complete and utter sexual constipation right here. You don't, in order to actually enjoy yourself, you don't have to make it public. But this is women who just can't accept that they find men sexually attractive, and they have to project it onto all this other crap. Like literally, their identities are incompatible with their sexual drive. And so this comes out of it. And it's because of feminism. Maybe it's even deeper. Maybe it's because they feel like male sexuality is degrading to them and is the source of sin.
Well, there is a bit of an admission of the link between revolutionary Marxism and sexual liberation, because that's what she's commenting on.
Mm-hmm.
So the women's lib movement and Marxism's relationship is stated when she says that she wants to break that professional relationship and turn it into something personal and liberating. But it's all obviously it's just like, I don't know, like what's the word I want? Like it's just like a grasp at power, like maybe just for the self, but like it's a will to power thing.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting that you were right. They do hand jobs. Wow, I didn't get to that point. Whew,
yeah, I told you. I that's what I thought. That's why it's, you know.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I just find this bizarre. Like you can't. You know that human men are what you have evolved to respond to, right? Like this is the other thing. Like they have these gigantic symbols of virility. Maybe you could stop emasculating human men.
So Frederick Engels wrote a book wrote The Origin of the Family, Private Property, and the State in 1884, and argued that sexual oppression is tied to class oppression, positing that monogamous marriage and patriarchal family structures emerged to secure private property and control women's labor and reproduction, serving capitalist interests. From this view, sexual liberation aligns with Marxism by dismantling these structures, freeing individuals from bourgeois norms and reinforcing economic inequality. That reinforce economic inequality. Early Soviet policies like legalizing divorce and abortion in the 1920s reflected this, aiming to disrupt traditional family units seen as capitalist relics. So there is a relationship between sexual liberation and communism. And that's what she is. So when they say late stage capitalism, it's like Allison said, they are also saying patriarchy, because those things are the same, because patriarchy is a form of capital that men have over women, and that needs to be dismantled and redistributed. But because it's more amorphous than like capital, which is more materialist, there's almost no way to do it without destroying everything first. So anyway, yeah.
What
like
do you replace
Frederick
the
Engels in the
incentive
1800s.
You have to what do you replace the incentive structure with, right? Like that's the big problem.
Yeah. Herbert Marcuse, also of the Frankfurt School, wrote Eros and Civilization in 1955 and argued for a liberated sexuality as part of a non-repressive society, merging Marxist and Freudian ideas. So there is definitely like, I think that this woman is probably, would, if she read those guys, which she may have, she probably wouldn't disagree. I mean, as a matter of fact, women hold up half the sky is a Maoist mantra. So
yeah, they're pretty inextricable. Like, and I think it's because, in part, communism it doesn't have any recognition of the importance of the meritocracy.
No,
it doesn't. It just doesn't. And meritocracies are something that men make, and they're naturally drawn to it. And they're naturally drawn to upholding the principles necessary for the meritocracy. I think that's, if we were to look at the whole formula, men submit to God, women submit to men, in the context of meritocracies and how meritocracies actually benefit all. It's actually men submit to the meritocracy, women submit to men because men understand the meritocracy, or they have the instincts around maintaining meritocracies, and meritocracies support everyone.
I mean, if you don't like the word God, you can just say reality, because that's like, you can't. That's the thing about liberation. That's why I bring it up a lot, is that you can only be liberated from things that are real, that can be like that won't affect you negatively. Like, you have to work within the framework of reality, like the laws of nature. You can call it the laws of nature. You can call it the laws of God, whatever you want to call it. But the point is, you can't be liberated from everything, because there are things that are limits on you, because you are a human being with, human limits. So you can't be liberated from gravity, for example, because you can't, like,
Yeah, no,
so
I gotcha. Now, well,
yeah,
the
it's
reason
like
why
liberation only works within the context of what is real, and
the
you
reason
can
why
call
I
it
call
God. I would, but you don't have to. You can just call it nature or the laws of nature if you want.
the reason why I call it the meritocracy, I think there's deeper parts to it, but I don't want to go into it, is because it's tied to men.
Yeah, for sure.
Like 100% it's tied to men. Men understand it implicitly, and they understand its nature on a fundamental level. And it's profoundly important for the productivity and the progress of humanity. And and the principles that uphold it, men understand those principles almost inherently. And I think that that's what makes everything make sense. And why Christianity does that. And it's not just Christianity. Like every single advanced religion that has produced anything related to an advanced society has the same formulation. Men submit to that version of the meritocracy, and women submit to men. Why? Because if women want to, they can destroy the meritocracy. They can turn it into tribal warfare. They can turn it into intersectional political bullshit that makes the meritocracy bogged down in gridlock. They can turn it into let's you and him fight. They want her. The thing is, like, the trick for Eve wasn't rebelling. It was not rebelling. Women are fully capable of destroying everything, leveling everything that men construct. We're fully capable of it. Like, we 100% can do it at any point. And I think the last century is evidence of that. The trick is not to do it. The trick is to understand why. You let men get on with it. Do you understand why? And I think we've seen examples of this now. Women take over publishing, it becomes porn. Women take over animation, it becomes crap. It becomes weird sexual grooming of children, right? Women take over media, Hollywood. It becomes awful. Like, women's interests take over everything, and it just turns to crap. It's because women don't understand the meritocracy. Women can understand it. Like, they can demonstrate that they understand it. But a woman who understands it, when women are seen as agentive, they lose the women are wonderful effect. Women who understand meritocracies don't want the woman are wonderful effect because they understand meritocracies. They understand and they want to earn things through merit, not just be handed things because they're women, right? That's the difference. And feminism doesn't just destroy men, it destroys women who understand meritocracies and don't want to be handed respect for being a woman. Okay, this is really rarefied and abstract, so I will leave it at that.
Okay.
Do you want to finish this? I mean, it's pretty late.
No, I think, yeah, it's almost 8 o'clock.
I think you guys get this. I think you get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, communism, it'll certainly work this time.
It certainly worked this time. Obviously, we got to get rid
Let's
of
just
the
kill
meritocracy.
another 10 million people. It's fine. We'll get it. We'll get it.
We got to get rid of the meritocracy, guys. We don't need to worry about what replaces it. Don't worry. Don't trouble your male brains about what's going to replace the meritocracy.
Yeah.
Don't trouble yourself with examples throughout history that whenever you get rid of the meritocracy, you have to go kill people or be killed as men. Let's just forget that. That's not going to happen this time. Women got this, even though they don't want to got this. They don't want to take any responsibility for it at all. Just hand them all authority, but don't expect them to take any responsibility for it. All right. So as I said, I'm going to do a bit of appealing to you guys because I got nobody else to appeal to. Let's face it, you are just stubborn, ornery, and contradictory enough to actually stick around and listen to what we have to say. So unfortunately, that puts you in the unenviable position of being the only ones that can be relied upon to actually make sure that we can continue to say it. So please go to feedthebadger.com/support, or sorry, feedthebadger.com/subscribe, and start up a subscription to help us out monthly. Every bit helps. $5, $10, really appreciated. We have to appeal to you because you're the only ones to, again, appeal to, and we need to have this support so we can continue to do this work. feedthebadger.com/subscribe. It's the only thing I'm going to show on this channel is caring about these issues enough to invest in them. And again, like if you spend time here, please consider investing further in these issues. Okay. It's a little shill. I could go longer. Do you guys want me to go longer? I could try. Nope.
I'd like to get on with my life.
Yeah. Support Brian getting on with his life. Okay. feedthebadger.com/subscribe. And if you want to join our community, badgernation.online is where you do it. And there's some perks for joining the community. Get to talk to us. If you get a subscription, you get some extra content, and yeah, it's great. Start building a community outside of the insane asylum, outside of this nonsense narrative that is going to drag our entire species into extinction. Okay, I'll hand it back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. You'll find links to both the Shoe on Head video as well as the Read with Cindy video in the description of this one. And what I already said, and please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Red Chill Cinema, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.